Hello everyone. We are back with another Clossi Approach series video, and we are at game 5 of the Clossi Approach to 15Q to 10Q portion. And we have a volunteer, Silly Stone. Thank you so much for volunteering. And that their rank is a 10Q or 9Q. It's uncertain because of OGS ranks. I believe they're 9Q on 19x19, but their overall rank is 10Q. But, excuse me. We're going to go ahead and keep applying our basics and just get more examples, and then we'll look at it afterwards and see what happens.
Game resumed.
Okay, so I'm going to just play open corners. Just Clossi Approach, open corners. So I'll go for influence, start point. I like to do the opposite of what they do, I guess. But it's fine, you can play whatever you want. Okay, so open side is going to be the top side. I gotta be careful that I don't like play a little too well because I've been playing a lot of ranked games in the last several days, and I gotta make sure I don't accidentally do something that's not double digit Q. So I'll just enclose a corner. I'll just do that. I could have approached. I could play an extension, but I'll just enclose. Okay, so we have the left and the bottom. Distance is equal. I want to say that his is higher, but I think mine's higher. So I'll just go left. All right, and now I think we're at largest framework. I'm fighting a sneeze. I don't know if my face is looking funny right now, but I'm fighting a sneeze. So what do we do? I need to sneeze. I think I'm going to play on the bottom somewhere. Or the right. I don't know if I want to count this as a framework or not. I don't know if I want to count this as a framework. Because I don't think it's an open side. But the distance is very wide. Let's just play in largest framework. Let's just invade. So this one's a common one. We're almost single digit, so we can learn that one. But we can also go in here. I don't know which one is better for this level. Left or right? Chat, left or right? Left or right? Which one should I do? Doesn't really matter. Just I don't want to overthink it. So I just want one. Let's just follow the double digit Q basics. Left or right? Does not matter. Someone tell me one to do. Right. Going right. Alright, and now we're going to play defense. So Nobi to the kick. Okay, and we're just going to run away. Single purpose, run away. Just run away. Just run away. Just run away. I'm actually very interested to get to the 9Q to 6Q section. Okay, so we have a cut, so let's fix. Because I have a lot of students in that section, and apparently there's a bit of a barrier from 9Q to 6Q. There's a barrier that holds a lot of people there. So I'm very interested to not just see what single digit Q is in general, but like what OGS specific to 2021 OGS single digit Qs are. Because when I was a single digit Q, it was much, much different. I think the players now are actually much stronger than they used to be. So we need defense. We need to run away. So first, can I Knights move? Probably not, so let's just run this way. I actually did a review for an 18Q a while back. I think it was like last year. And I did a comparison of when I was an 18Q and 20 or 2000. No, it wasn't even 20. Oh my gosh. In 2007, I was an 18Q. and I showed him my games, and then I showed him his games, and I'm like, 18Qs, modern 18Qs. I say modern. I don't know when you're watching this video. 18Qs in 2021 are probably single-digit Qs in 2007. At least the OGS 18Qs. Now, I think that was before the rank update, though. That was before the rank update. That was before the rank update. So I actually don't know what the 18Qs are now. Because I think we started this video. Did we start this series before the rank update? Okay, so we're just going to watch our cutting points. I actually got to double check. Was that... did we start the series before the rank update? Do I have to reshoot the Clossi Approach series to 20Q? Run away. We're almost good. All right. Are we good? One more for safety. We'll do one more for safety. Just make sure we don't die. That's all it is. Boop. All right. I think the sneeze feeling is finally gone. I hope it is. All right. Next up. Can we attack? Nope. So largest framework. Hello, Demi. Okay, so largest framework. So many might think it's blacks, but actually, it's whites. I have the largest framework. Because I'm past Tingen and he's not. All right, so it's reducing. So we can just block with the shoulder hit. Okay, we can no-be 1-point jump. I don't know what's better here. So just jump. It's more common to jump. So normally you go here for speed, but we don't need speed right here. So this is a good example of understanding why we do a shape. So if you play here normally, that's usually the correct answer most of the time, because you're getting out very quickly. But here we're blocking, so we use this shape. It's much better. Here he gets to push and cut, and he gets to reduce a bit more. So it's a little bit more COSA. Okay, do we have more? It's actually a pretty close game. So we have an opening right here, so let's reduce while also blocking. This is another shape. Like you wouldn't play Knight's move because the 1-point jump we know is the first thing we should consider. It just usually has cutting points. So usually because the cutting points we can't do it. But in this case the cutting points don't work, so now we can. This is I think a lesson that a lot of, I'm going through with my single digit Q students a lot. Just understanding why we pick certain shapes over other shapes. And like they have trouble not playing the normal shape because they don't really understand why it's played. So they always play it, which is it's fine up until single digit Q. But at single digit Q, you need to start realizing, okay, now I know that this shape is for this reason. So if I'm not doing that reason, I'm not going to play that shape. Ooh. Ooh. Connect, connect, connect. Ooh, he doubts my cutting points. Okay. You doubt me, sir? Oop. Aha. All right. I am reading this. I'm not really speaking my reading. as much, which going into single digit queue, I'll speak the reading less and less, and I'll start working over the higher level concepts. But I am reading Atari there run, like, and he has nowhere to go. And I should be very confident. I should be very confident in any fight right here, as long as I don't have a cutting point and I don't die. As long as I don't die, I should be very confident in a fight in this area. So I'm not scared of it. Okay. So the areas are kind of even. So we can go like booyah and jump in with an evasion, or we can poke these holes to reduce for Yosei. So this is a bit of a judgment call, and there's no easy way to improve judgment. Judgment is literally game experience and reviewing. So deciding between pushing and going in is literally just going to be experience. I don't really have any shortcut for judgment. But I will tell you how I am going to make that decision. So I have an area this large. Okay, he has an area this large. His is a little bit more secure than mine, so I might be more invadable than he is. But evasion has a certain amount of risk, so it's a risk-reward ratio. He has some side. I do not have some side, so I might have a little bit less. So I definitely got to do something about it. But he has some openings in his shape right here, and I like to pick the easier plans at double digit Q. So pushing through these openings and these gaps should be less risk, but it's also going to be less reward. So if I'm not confident that I can attack stuff and gain a lot of profit in here, or potentially kill anything in here, if I'm not confident that I can kill something in here, then I don't know if reduction will be enough. And we can't exactly count yet. We don't know how to count. We're just comparing. So it's a bit of a difficult judgment call. Normally I would count, I would read, etc., etc. So I don't know. I don't know. So let's go for the easy stuff first, and let's see if we can... Let's go for the easy stuff first. Let's push. Nice. And then push. Push. Yeah. Welcome to Go, am I? Oop. And then just walk in. Ooh. Cutting points. Cutting points. And now we can feel comfortable with our lead. Now we can feel comfortable. All right, so he defended. This is not Sente to us. So kill the stones. Take the ice space and kill them, because that's a lot of value. And now he has a side and we have side. And we should definitely be winning at this point. All right, so he invaded. What do we do? Oh no, he's going inside of our area and we just lost all of it. Or did we? Don't forget, when they have no escape routes, attack it from the second line. Because you're at step 3 of the Clossi Approach. Take the eye space, because he's already surrounded. Oh, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? Oh, this is going like super all in to kill. You're supposed to go here, but this is like super all in. Let's kill him. I think we can. But you should not be doing this without reading, so I don't know if it's double digit Q. I don't know if this is double digit Q. I don't know. I think it'll be a good learning example, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I don't think this is double digit Q, but it could be a good learning example. Okay. Fix your cutting point. It's the double digit Q, Joseki. You block and then fix your cutting points. Fix your cutting points. Okay, and then we're gonna block with the cap. We could Hane, but there's an elephant's eye right there, so cap is just better shape. This comes with game reviews, probably. This is one thing I'm noticing a lot. A lot of my students will immediately block right here. And maybe not this exact example, but a lot of my students will be like, okay, this is the normal thing, and they'll immediately play it. They don't really consider other options. Give yourself options. And what's the best shape to do it? Like, what's the best shape to block this area? If you play here and they have an elephant's eye, whoops, that wasn't the right shape, right? That comes with game reviews and game experience, I guess. But technically, if you're giving yourself options every single move, it should be easier to accomplish in your games. But if you are working on the middle game and trying to do slightly better things, game reviews, like when you review your own game on a real board, you review your games on a real board, you can say, okay, I wanted to do this, did I do it? And if you say there was an opening, see if there's a better shape. Maybe a 1 point jump or something else. Maybe you left an elephant's eye. I don't know. Just see if there's a better shape. This is not Sente to us. Can he go in? No, he cannot. So there's no way for him to get in. Is there? I'm looking at the attachment. Boop. Hane. Cut. There.
10,
There.
9,
I could technically block,
8,
but let's go here because I
7.
don't know if a double digit Q will read that. It's okay. It's okay. Play at your level. Play at your level. If you can't kill this, it's okay. Just block as much as you can. You can, like, if since I killed this, I could have let this live and maybe still win. So even if that lived, it's okay. Right now, what you're worried about is more game experience than anything else. But I already killed something, so it's maybe not a huge deal if that lived small, like super small. But I don't know. Being able to kill this is quite powerful of a technique if you can. I don't know if you can or not, but eventually you want to be able to. So maybe as you go into single digit Q, you'll start learning how to kill these things. But it was attack because he had no escape routes. I attacked it from the second line and attacked it from the second line. So maybe not quite double digit Q, but this is also a 10 Q. So we're getting into single digit Q territory. So I don't know. I don't know if this is double digit Q,
10,
but I thought it might be a
9,
good lesson.
8, 7.
So we're in Yosei now, right?
5, 4, 3.
Boop. Yosei, take the Yosei, and I'm happy. I get all the points. Boop. Boop. Okay. Boop. Get all the boops. Boop. Get all the boops. Get all the boops. Yeah, I know this was not the biggest move, Trick Prey, but it's within our double digit Q basics, so I had to follow it. Get all the boops. This is Yosei. Ooh. Ooh. He ignored us. So which one's bigger? Which one's bigger? Okay, so if he cuts, I can block. If I go, I can keep going. So mine's bigger, yes?
10,
Yes? Can we see that?
9,
Is that is that
8,
clear? If not, you would just
7,
block right here.
6,
But I'm pretty
5,
sure it's clear that mine's bigger. Because I can block and then keep going. And my block's an Atari, his block is not. Boom. Boom. And that's why mine was bigger. I am not going to Hane here because that leads to a snapback. There's a Sente move. Boom. Alright, do I got any more? That's probably ignorable. I think I'm out of Sente. Okay, big Gote. That's big. Maybe here.
10, 9, 8, 7.
Whatever. Just play a big move. Just play a big move. Not a big deal. Okay. Block here, block here, block here. Let's block here. That one's big. Okay. We took all over the Sente. So now we're just playing big Gote. Playing big Gote and looking for Sente. But it's kind of black's right because we're out of Sente, so. I can cut, and that's not a legal move, so it's not a snapback. So cool. So that's 2 points and reverse Sente for black, or negative 2 points and reverse Sente for black. Okay, so I can block, but that might be a ko, so I'm going to go here. So if I block and he cuts, is that a ko? Am I just stupid? No, I was right. I was right. He might cut and I could capture, but that's a ko shape, and you gotta be very. Those are very scary. Very, very scary. Very scary shapes at double digit Q. Like that's how you lose a whole position. You're like, holy fudge, ko fights. Who can play a ko at double digit Q? Very scary Yosei tactics. Like that will cost you games at this level. And we'll talk about more about it in the review. All right, block. Is that it? Just here. So I think it did one thing that wasn't double digit Q. I think that was it, and the rest was just perfect double digit Q play, which is hard to do, of course. Oh. Okay. This is here we go. I like this all or nothing move. Good job by Silly Stone. What do I do? Second line here or second line here? That is the question. If I go second line here and he runs, these two stones might be in danger and he might make a combination. So I think I have to go here. I have to help these two stones. Otherwise, he will kill them and live. Here. Crap, I'm reading. I'm accidentally reading. Oh, what are my basics? Pretty sure I can just. I'm reading. I shouldn't be. I can't read. I'm not supposed to read.
10, 9, 8.
Okay, let's make a mistake.
5, 4, 3.
I think if I go here,
4 periods left.
I can kill him. But let's say I'm panicking and I'm playing defense first. So let's go here or here. Yeah, let's go here and let something live. Oh no, we made a mistake. We made a mistake. Yeah, the problem with the problem is in the other video I taught you how to kill this by itself, but in this case he has outside stones that might also live, so it's a combination play now, and combination plays require reading, which we can't do yet. So you have to like double check how these are related to each other in the follow-ups, which requires reading. So technically we're not supposed to do that. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Is this the... No, it's not. This is not. Okay, whatever. 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 It's double digit Q anyway. It's okay. If this happens, it happens. It's no big deal. We got the outside. That's all that matters. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. I think we're done, right? We can play this dame if you want. That was in the 13 by 13 section, right? I really recommend everyone watch the entire series. Like, even if you're stronger than the level in the series, I really think it's worth it. That is not Sente. I almost responded. Whoops, don't do that. Yeah, I'm fine. I really encourage everyone to watch every video because you want to make sure that you have all the information. Even if you have 90% of it, you need to make sure that you have 100% of the information.
You have won.
Thank you for the game. Looks like we won by 29.5. Close game. Close game. Close game. Not bad, not bad, not bad. We're going to review this game.
Review started.
Yeah, Mike, I really encourage you guys to watch the entire series. All right. All right, all right, all right. There's crumbs on my keyboard. I let my brother... Okay, it's not crumbs, it's sawdust. Open corners. Open sides. Open sides. And then I went for largest framework. I could try to do an open side as well and just play on the right. It's getting a little out of control, though. Getting a little out of control. So I think we're at middle game. I don't think we're in the opening because he already has an enclosure. And Clossi Approach says an enclosure on that side is no longer an open side. So I invaded. And it doesn't really matter. We just use our double digit Q basics of approach a fourth line stone. Doesn't really matter. Just pick one. And then play defense, which is Nobi, 1 point jumps, stay connected. And then I checked. I don't want to push from behind. It's usually slow. I checked my cutting point. Oh, I have a cutting point. I probably could have done that, but, you know, I could be cut. So it's not good. So I jumped this way. I'm just running away. That's all I'm doing. I'm just going that way. Just run away with my 1 point jumps. Defense, defense, defense. He tried to cut me again, so I connected. Okay, and then I ran away. And he played a big move. And I'm still close to this line of influence. I'm not even sure if this is the line of influence or not, because that stone is a little scary. Because that line's a little scary. But even, no matter which line I'm on, it probably wants me to respond at least one more. So I responded one more. And now I cannot be surrounded very easily. So, okay. Even though he got, like, another move. He got another big move. Like, it's okay. Just defense. We'll worry about ignoring sooner at much higher level. At double digit Q, your worry is that you don't want to die. That's the bigger concern. Don't die. So here, we could have invaded black. If we said black was the bigger one, we have invasions, approach fourth line, approach fourth line, approach fourth line. Those are all invasion points. And we could have probably chosen that one. That one probably be the easiest. But I know Clossi Approach basics, which means I know the capping move. And as soon as I see this and I see this in my head, I'm like, mine's bigger. So I just played for mine. I said mine's bigger. I made the claim that mine was bigger. So I just blocked. If I thought blacks became bigger at this point, I could do a trade. Something like that, and then go in. And I could destroy both. Just same Clossi Approach patterns. If you've been watching the series, these patterns should be familiar to you. I hope. I hope they are. Yeah, and then we talked about how this one is not as good in this case because, yes, it still blocks, but we lose more points. We don't need speed right here. We needed speed in the other one. We needed speed in that one. So we can get out back to our stones and connect. And then we can invade. But for this one, we don't need speed. We just need to block. Right shape for the right job. Says this seemed huge because of the double wing formation. Why was this not very good? What? I don't know what you mean. There's no double wing formation on the board. So I need you to elaborate on your question. This one's another one that is just good practice and good habits. I think a lot of people would play like this one instead because we talk about Knight's move to get ahead a lot in this series. But if you recall, we do Knight's move to get ahead because the cutting point doesn't work. But in this particular case, as we saw later, the cutting point still doesn't work. He goes nowhere. So the cutting point still doesn't work. So if you know the cutting points don't work, you get one line deeper. And that extra line is probably the difference between like perfect execution versus good execution. Just understanding these little differences. One line difference done on several different moves is kind of like a world of difference at the higher levels. If you played this one, it's not really that bad. It's just you saw I was able to break in a lot more. So good shape leads to even better results. So when this comes from reviewing your own games, if you can find just slight ways to do it better in your game reviews, then it becomes a lot more powerful. So even if this was just 5 points better, 5 points better, that's still like 5 points here, then another 5 points somewhere else, then another 5 points somewhere else, and it adds up very quickly. So this maybe is not double digit Q because I'm doing it, like I said, I'm doing double digit Q play perfectly, and that's not realistic. But I want you to show you like how it can be used. This is the theory being used properly. How to get there though, that's what we care about more than anything else, is not exactly the application, but how do we get to playing the application. This would be game reviews and practice, but the principle is still the same. As long as even if you played this one, it's not bad. The principle is still the same. It's just block this area because you have bad shape while reducing black. So as long as the principle is the same, it should be doable. But if you can improve your execution, of course, it's better. Okay, so the R17, P16, Q10, and K16. Okay, so normally when you're referring to a double wing, you're referring to something like this with the star point. And a double wing with the star point is not good because, or a double low wing with the star point is not good because either A or B will be in a bad spot. So if you just play out the old Joseki, you can see that this stone is really flat. You would rather it be on the fourth line for the influence. And if you change direction, it would be that stone. So usually you don't want a double wing with the star point. That's what the double wing is normally referring to. Now, you said this seemed huge because of the double wing formation. Why was this not very good? What do you mean, why was it not very good? This is very good for black. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, this is good. This is fine. I would say if you wanted to look at white's line of influence, you could have played here and then did this. I'm talking to my opponent. My opponent's commenting in chat. You could have done that to destroy whites if you thought whites was bigger. Then just run away. So that would be an option for black. But I don't think this is necessarily bad. Not quite the Clossi approach, but it gets value. I mean, it's still decent. I'm just looking at the Clossi approach. And this is another thing, I think. The Clossi approach is not the only way to play Go. So let's talk for a second about what is the Clossi approach. The Clossi approach is a way to simplify the game and give Q players a way to understand what is happening and what they can do about it in a way that's that they can apply to any situation. So it's just a way to think about the game. It's a way to identify good moves. And the Clossi approach will work like 80% of the time, 90% of the time, it will be very good. I mean, there are exceptions, of course. There's reading and everything else. Oh no, basic, you're perfectly fine. Questions are fine. But the Clossi approach is basically, I got a lot of methods from a lot of my teachers over the years, and I was able to get to Dawn with it. And I was like, okay, but as a teacher, how do I explain these methods to a double-digit Q? Like, how do you explain attack and defense to a double-digit Q? How do you explain all this complex stuff that I know and I can apply, but how do I explain it to a double-digit Q? And that's how I came up with the Clossi approach. It's my step-by-step guide on how to approach a unique situation. Like, what are my rules of thumbs? What is a good rule of thumb for playing in the opening, playing in the middle game? What is your good rule of thumb for all this other stuff? Like, that's what the Clossi approach is. It's a way of telling you, a double-digit Q, how you can make moves that are my level. So how do you make my moves? So my way of playing is not the only way of playing. There's an aggressive style. There's the AI stuff now, which the Clossi approach actually doesn't follow the AI perfectly, which we might talk about. If we get past 5Q, maybe I'll introduce the AI opening. But the Clossi approach is a way of making the game make sense at a Q level. So when I'm looking at this move is not a bad move. For a 10Q, this is not a bad move by any means, because a double-digit Q, every single move just needs to gain value. As long as you're gaining value and not dying, you're doing something right. But if you're wanting to be maybe more efficient, or you're wanting to understand more about why you are getting value right there instead of somewhere else, well, the Clossi approach can give you some reasons about it. The Clossi approach can say, okay, I have influence here, you have influence here. I want to build while reducing, so I chose this one. And if you just want to reduce, maybe you play on the line of influence, maybe you play here. If you want to build while reducing, maybe you can play here, you can play what you played to get some side and influence. So it's not like you can't do it. It's not like it's a bad move. It might not be the Clossi approach, but just because it's not the Clossi approach doesn't make it bad. I will say, though, if you can apply the Clossi approach, you can get to Dawn, or really, really close to Dawn, because there is a little bit of reading involved to get to Dawn. But the Clossi approach will hopefully, to especially beginners and double-digit Qs, make the game at least understandable. Like, give you some direction. The 19x19 grid is so vast. It's so many possibilities. You're like, I need to narrow this down. What the heck do I do? And so the Clossi approach narrows it down to a few simple options that work. Like, for example, defense. Okay, so here's a good example. 1-point jumps. Very good defensive shapes. I didn't talk about 2-point jumps. I didn't talk about counterattacking. I didn't talk about checking your opponent's Aji first before you run away. I just said play defense and run away so you don't die. And I didn't say play up here where you can get cut. I said play a defense that moves you away from getting surrounded so you don't die in a way that does not get cut. 1-point jumps. Now you know shapes. Now you know why you play the shape, because it's movement. You are moving out so you don't get surrounded, because getting surrounded leads to death, potentially. So you're playing movement that gets out from that line of influence so they don't surround you. But I'm not playing here. I want to be a little bit more efficient than that. So what is a way that I can be efficient about with my movement so I don't die that is applicable at this level? Well, 1-point jumps. They're very good movement and they're very difficult to cut. So usually it's really good for defense. And likewise for offense, Knights moves, Hanes, but they're really bad for defense because they have cutting points. This is very, very, very simple go, but it makes sense. And then as you get stronger, you can add on 2 space jumps. And you can understand the cutting points in those. You can understand when they work, when they don't. And then you can take it a step further and say, can I counterattack first? Can I check my opponent's cutting points and maybe defend myself in Sente, which we are going to do at single digit Q? Can I defend myself by using my opponent's Aji? But the problem with that at double digit Q is if you can't read a cutting point and you don't know what defense means, then you can't do it. You can't just say, I'm going to go right here for defense, and they go right here. And I'm going to go right here for defense, and they go right here. And I'm going to go right here for defense, they go right here. And I'm going to go right here for defense. They connect or whatever, or something. I don't know. They do connect. I'm going to go right here. And ha 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 ha, I'm alive. Am I alive? I don't even know if I'm alive. Holy crap. Let's just pretend we're alive. Ha 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 ha. I lived. My plan worked. But that's not efficient. You've got 1, 2, 3 points for this amount of stones. Black has influence facing the rest of the board. He has like the sun to your grass. You're not going to be able to win that way. So it's one thing to understand you need to live. But understanding that you need to live efficiently. Okay, so 1-point jumps, run away. And that's kind of what the Clossi Approach does. It gives you a starting point. That's all. That's what I want the Clossi Approach to be. Is it gives you a starting point, a way to understand the game and make it make sense, and you can add on knowledge as you get stronger. But it gives you something to start with that will potentially win you games and level you up. And then as you're getting more experience and more practice, then you can add on more and more knowledge. Another way to look at it is if I'm a Dom player has at least that many options. Okay, like if I really wanted to, I could look at that many things and say what's a good way. Now, usually I don't look at that many because there's just time consumption, right? But in a tournament, I might. In a tournament, I might say, can I ignore, right? And can I do anything else? That's a lot of options. How do we narrow that down? Okay, so let's say single digit Q. Let's narrow it down to things that are related to the group. So probably we shouldn't Tanuki. Probably we should stick to things that are connected. So we've narrowed it down to these. And then double digit, but for double digit Q, this is way too many. So double digit Q is like, let's narrow it down to just help your group run away. Okay, and now we've narrowed it down to just 4 moves. Okay, and use shapes that can't be cut. So boom. And if you don't know 2 space jumps, boom. There you go. So it's not that they're bad moves. It's not like stronger players don't consider them. It's just we're limiting the information available to you so that way you don't get overwhelmed. That's what the Clossi Approach does. It tries the shortcut to some of the answers and hides the rest of them to give you the ability to make decisions quickly, make decisions without being overwhelmed, and then as you get stronger, it feeds you a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. So that way you only get as many options as you can handle. So hopefully that makes sense. That's kind of the purpose of the Clossi Approach. It just narrows it down to something that makes sense. So yeah, I played defense and I just watched my cutting points. And then I played a capping move, which a capping move is one of our double-digit Q shapes, cap. Shoulder hit here. Shoulder hit's another shape, and I was just trying to block this area. I could have also... So here's another thing. I talked about this earlier as well. Make sure that you're thinking about options. I'm not really going through them in my head because I can just see really quickly a really good option. But let's say I have shoulder hit, and cap. Okay, let's get rid of these. Say I have 3 options here. This is important. You should not play the very first one that you see. The very first one you see. It might be good, it might be bad, but like you have like a 1 in 3 chance. You have like a 1 in 3 chance. Okay, so why would you just guess? Why not just look? Say, that one does this. That one looks like this. That one looks like this. That one looks like this. Which one looks like it blocks the best? And probably that one. Now, as you get stronger, you want to read more. You want to apply reading to it as well. But build this habit of thinking about options. So let's say you have shoulder hit, cap, and cap. We narrowed it down to I want to build my area. These 3 moves are some of the shapes to do it. Shoulder hits and caps. Which one looks like it blocks it the best? And I think the shoulder hit. Build this habit to give yourself options. Don't play the first thing that you see. Think about, what do I want? What are the shapes that will get me there? Which shape does it the best? Okay, so there's 4 steps to playing a good move. Number 1 is the goal of the turn, which the Clossi Approach should be able to answer for you. Number 2 is your instinct, which you apply shapes, knowledge, experience, yada yada, and give yourself options. Number 3 is reading, which we probably can't do until single digit Q, with the exception of cutting points and life and death, right? So aside from those, you don't really read until single digit Q, which is coming up soon. So if you're single digit Q, no excuse. You gotta start reading. And then number 4 is judgment, which is the hardest thing to improve. But what you do is you say, which of those options, so if you're just doing goal and instinct, which of those moves, you judge which of those moves did the goal the best. If you have goal, instinct, and reading, you say which of those variations did the goal the best. Brings it full circle. Goal, instinct, reading, judge. Goal, instinct, reading, judge. A lot of players skip the instinct. A lot of players find one move, they read that it does the goal, or they just see that it does the goal, and they just do it. But that limits you from finding moves that do the goal slightly better. That slightly better is what separates average players from great players. Because that slightly better, done multiple times throughout the game, is a huge, huge value. So at double digit Q, I say 35 points or less is a close game. At single digit Q, I say 25 points or less is a close game. And then like going beyond 5Q, 15 points or less is a close game. And then you get to Dawn, which is like 10 points or less is probably a close game. Maybe 15 points if you're playing really fast. Because I've been looking at some of my results recently. I'm like, kind of not good. The point is, the stronger you get, the closer the games become. Now let's imagine that the difference between this move and the difference between these 3 moves. Let's say the difference is like 5 points. Just an arbitrary 5 points. And let's say because this is, I just made one right here, and I'm making another one right here. So let's say these two moves were not on the ideal spot. So it's already 10 points. Those two moves are already 10 points. And that's just two moves. You play like 60 to 70 plus moves a game. How many times do you play suboptimal moves and only play average moves instead of above average moves? How many times do you skip that instinct step per game and lose a few points in value? And then add those all up. That can drastically change the score. It can drastically change the outcome of the game and can drastically change the follow-ups in this area. So 5 points, it might actually be more like 20 points in some cases. Some cases it's just 1 or 2. In some cases it's like 20 because the follow-ups are so vastly different. I really want you guys building this habit. You're not going to be able to do it right off the bat. But build the habit to give yourself options. And for double-digit Qs, it's shoulder hits and capping moves for blocking this area. Okay, so we know what the shapes are. We know what the idea is, the goal is. So just try to think which one works better. And then to improve on it, improve your accuracy, you review the game. And you might review with AI. That one might give you more than you want. Just start doing crap like that. maybe AI is that good. But maybe you replay it on a real board and you say, okay, this one looks like this one looks like this one's look like this. Or you reinforce the habit. What were my options? Did I miss an option? Right? And the more you review your game and double check yourself, the more you reinforce that habit. And the more times you do it in a game review, the easier it'll be to do in the actual game. So every time you're trying to build a habit of something, do game reviews and look for those opportunities, and then look for those opportunities in a live game, and you'll be more likely to see it if you've been doing it in game reviews as well. So hopefully this concept makes sense. But give yourself options. I've been seeing a lot of my students playing way too fast and not giving themselves options. So like, here or here. Both do the job. This one's better. Okay, I could have invaded right here, but I also have an opening. So it's a little bit annoying. So I just wanted to fix that first. All right, so Basic Baruch asked, is the cut at F6? F6? Here? This is a reduction, not a cut. You're not really cutting anything. I mean, it's a move. It's kind of just Yosei at the moment. Unless you want to get into some crazy reading. Probably, you can try to get in here more, but I don't think your play was that bad. I think up to this point, your play was actually pretty spot on. The only problem is you have a lot more cutting points in your shapes than I do. So my shape was just better execution. That's literally the only difference right now, is I have much better execution. So there's a reason you're 10Q. Okay, I'm applying double-digit Q basics perfectly. You're applying them pretty close to perfect. I mean, that's why you're 10Q and not 15Q. The difference was clearly the shapes. Awesome. From Scotland. My wife loves Scotland. So the difference was the shape. So up to this point, I think you played, like, considering the rank difference, I think you played as well as you could have asked or hoped for. There are a couple things you can improve on, of course. I mean, it's not like you can't get better. But I think you played really well up to this point. This is a little bad because you're playing a cutting point without reading it out. And then you kind of backed off. So that was a bit bad. And I think this knight's move versus this one, if we're doing the elephant's eye logic, this one doesn't block because of the cutting points. So you have to go for this one instead. It's still a lot of cutting points, but you can see you blocked this area. Yeah, that's just a lot of cutting points. But this one was technically bad shape. And so I just pushed in. I could have invaded. Um, I could have invaded right here. This is really high risk, though, because it's not easy to live. But what would this look like? Well, first off, is there escape routes or not? And if Black said no, he might try to go for the kill. And now we have to apply like single digit Q logic. So we can't really do that yet. But double digit Q logic, it would be expand your eye space as much as possible. And if they did that, maybe you can try to run away, but they might and try to do something. You see, double digit Q shapes might get us killed. It was a little scary. And if he pincered, then we can do that, which is quite nice. And this is just expand your eye space logic. Expand your eye space, 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 and then play the vital point. And maybe that lives. So there's a chance for you to live. Your opponent might not play perfectly. If your opponent knows how to kill you, you can't just not die, right? Like if your opponent knows the best answers, then you can't just not play the best answers. So double digit Q attacks right here might kill us. It is a little bit high risk. You were trying to see if any variation worked using those two stones at J12, J12, and K12 to save the black stones on the left later. No, I don't think these stones will ever have an impact on the left, unfortunately. Maybe they'd have impact right here, but I think this Aji right here exists regardless of those. So I don't know. So here, there was just an easier way in, and why not take the easy way in? And here, Black's biggest weakness, which is cutting points, comes into play, and he just dies, unfortunately. You gotta play defense, so maybe like that. It's ugly, but at least you block the area. So you gotta figure out a way how to block without leaving those cutting points. Aji is weakness or potential, basically. It's basically potential forcing moves that might do something. So it's just weakness. But you can also consider it potential. Like it's weakness and or potential. More important at single digit Q than double digit Q. Single digit Q will start looking for Aji to try to use it to survive. We'll look for forcing moves or weaknesses in our opponent's shape to survive. So Black had a lot of Aji with these cutting points. So I tried to read and find a way in using it, and I succeeded. So I would say the way for Black to improve is to learn how to block with shapes that have less cutting points. If you want to improve shape, I always recommend this lecture for shape. DSAUN shape lecture. DSAUN shape lecture. Okay, I always recommend this lecture. It talks about a lot of shapes and patterns. And then for application, and I'll link this in both chats. For application, I encourage you to review old Japanese pro games from like the 1800s and 1900s. That's replaying those games really gives you an idea of shape. Now, because they are pro games, they are going to be very difficult for you to understand. Actually, I can do Sensei's Library Aji. There you go. That might help. Old Japanese pro games are quite difficult to understand. Any pro game is going to be quite difficult to understand, but it'll be easier to follow old Japanese pro games than modern games, just due to Go history. And I don't want to get into the Go history right now in this video, but it'll just be easier, trust me. The 1800s, 1900s. If you need somewhere to go, you can go to gokifu.com. That's a free one. No, not that one. GOKIFU.com. GoKifu.com. This is a good one, and I don't know if you can search by date though. Can you? Like, let's do 1854. Why not? Nope, that doesn't work. What about Shuzaku? I love Shuzaku. Minbo Shuzaku. Fine. Be specific. I don't care. Okay, it doesn't have a lot of his games, but at least it has a few. So there you go. It's a famous player. And you can see the date is 1850. And then you can. This one is not the best one. I much prefer Go for Go.net, but this one is like one payment of $10. Also, it's really hard to get past a certain date. So like, browse by date. Old games before 1970. So it's a little bit harder to get past that point. And then if other people, you can ask around the internet for other databases. Do I know my Shuzaku number? I don't know what that means. But here's some good ones. This is Go for Go, Go number 4, Go.net. And then, yeah, someone said PS.wall theory, which I've linked a lot in my videos. This is a pattern search database. It's mostly for patterns and learning openings. But you can still browse the database, and I believe you can do an advanced search by, older, 1700 to 1800. Oh, yeah, here you go. PS.WALTHERI.net. Here you go. Gotcha. All right, so that is some study material. It is a little complex, and it's not going to be easy. But the hope. I can post the last website. Yeah. The hope is that it will give you some starting points, some long-term habits, some long-term good habits of studying shapes. Pro games will be difficult to understand at first, but it will hopefully give you some good ideas. The difficult part about shapes is shapes are a way of movement that are just done either really, really well or not well. Like, that's the definition of a good shape and bad shape. It's movement well or not well. So when you see pro shape, you see their movement done perfectly. And when you're like, why, this is such a weird looking move, but as soon as you start reading, like, sometimes you'll have a shape that looks cuttable in a program, and as soon as you start reading it, there's maybe some sort of sacrifice play, and there's no way to cut them off. There's some sort of tsuji or shape or something, and it just works. And there's a beauty in the way it works. And you're just like, holy crap, this shape looks so random, but it works perfectly in this situation. And that's what we call like really good shape, like good shape application. Now there are some simpler shapes, which the Dison video for shape should teach you like good shapes and like what it means and how to use it a little bit. Pro games show you like advanced application of it, but the simple idea is like 1 point jump, we know that shape, caps, shoulder hits, we know those shapes, and we learn shapes just a little bit at a time, and just understanding what they do and why they do what they do, what the timing is for them. Like you have different shapes for defense than offense, what the timing is and everything else, how they work, how they don't work. That's just understanding shapes. It comes with a lot of lectures and practice and stuff, but hopefully this is good ideas for you guys. All right, so let's continue with this. So after this, white's pretty much won the game. And now we go in here. And now I did a little bit not double digit Q, but attacking from the second line. I think this is very double digit Q if you know the topic. And someone said, how do I kill this move? I did go over this in the previous videos, but it's just second line. The idea is they have nowhere to go. They can't go anywhere. So you can just let them out. But the idea is you kill the eye space. You do step 3 of the attack or defense of the Clossi approach. Because step 1 is take the base. Step 2 is surround. Step 3 is reduce eye space. Step 4 is play the vital point. We're already at step 3 because they're already surrounded. There's nowhere to go. So you can just reduce the eye space and kill it. Now, most of the time you cannot do this. It has to be like very, very dead. Otherwise, you lose a ton of points. It's very bad if it lives. But that's a way to do it. So that's what I did here, is I applied this. And I went here, and I was actually seeing this variation. And I'm like, I can kill it technically, but I don't think this is very double-digit Q. Because there's throw-ins and everything else. I don't think this is very double-digit Q, and it's like, I don't know if I can play this. I think normally you would play this one, and then reduce, and maybe something like that would be simpler. Yeah, this would be simpler. This would be a simpler application. Like, if you did this way, this is fine. You might lose. I don't know how many. Well, I don't know. You killed that. If we killed that, then we'll probably win. But sometimes this might lose, but it doesn't mean necessarily that your moves were bad. It just means your opponent played well. Because if your opponent doesn't know how to live, then they just die. But just because like you played this one doesn't mean you played bad. It just means you played at your level. Just play good moves at your level, and then just learn the next level moves. Don't learn 10 ranks above you and how to play like 10 ranks above you. Don't learn Dawn moves yet. Learn the level that you're trying to get to. Next. Not the eventual one, the next one. Ooh, nice. 95 on the 9x9. Monster. Your 9x9 skills must be really good right now. Alright, so here, just fix my cutting point. No big deal. And I blocked. Here's another example. I could have played right here, but then what if he played right here and walked in? Yeah, there's an Atari and connect. But what if he's like, I don't care. I need to fight in this area. I need to fight in this area. I need to get in. Like, maybe I kill him, but, like, it's a lot riskier, right? Why do that when you just do this? It's a lot simpler shape. Less to read, less risk. But if I was instantly responding and not giving myself options, heck, even this one might be better. Here, here, here. Elephant's Eye. Maybe this has the least amount of Aji, or least amount of things to read. So it's a shape that I can apply at my level. As long as you can do that, you're good. Get rid of those instant responses. Very bad habit. You have to drill yourself too. You cannot respond instantly. You have to give yourself options. Those instant responses are going to prevent you from getting so much value. Okay, and I just save the stones. I think and I just started USA. I think the next thing to talk about is when he invaded the 3-3. Actually, here we go. If you don't know the shape, it's a ko. Now this one might not be, because I might just go here. So this one's probably not. Actually, maybe here. Yeah, so this one might be. This one might be a ko. Sometimes that will work, and you don't want to fight a ko in your territory. Oh, nice. So that's a Yosei shape that you need to remember. If you block it and he has to connect, if that stone's out there, so it's not a ko, then yeah. But if there's a ko, then that's not good. So it's an important Yosei shape. It's very little risk for black and a lot of risk for white. So don't want to do that. Okay, so this, I actually like this. This is a nice application of all or nothing. A little bit late, honestly. We could have done it way sooner. But black's clearly going to lose. So this is a good combination of all or nothing. And I probably could have killed it. This is probably definitely the killed it. But if I go for the kill like right here, that's not... This is not very easy to read. All right, I do that. I'm pretty sure I could still kill this. If I took my time, I could almost definitely still kill this. Here. Maybe just reduce or something. Maybe not. Maybe not. You see, it's actually quite dangerous. Actually, quite dangerous. Maybe I should have gone here. Yeah, that one would, but this would have been much better. Yeah, this one's much better. But in that case, maybe he goes here. Yeah, if I spent time reading, maybe I could kill it. But you can see it's very complicated, so I'm like, okay, let's just defense first. If you start getting into trouble, then just switch to defense first. Don't die. That's the important thing. Don't die trying to kill something. That's just not gonna work. Yeah. So it lived, but not a big deal. Not the end of the world. So I thought it was a good idea from Black to try to do that, because the combination with these stones actually becomes very dangerous. So that is it for the Clossi Approach series for today. So yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy that, and I'll go ahead and wrap up the YouTube video here. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time.